Alright, buckle up, because I'm about to hit you with the wild adventures of our boy Tom Sawyer from Mark Twain's legendary The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. But don't worry, I'll keep it as fresh as your TikTok feed, with just the right sprinkle of gaming vibes and anime energy to keep things spicy. So, picture this, Tom Sawyer is your classic mischief-making middle schooler, but make it 1840s Missouri style. He's got this firecracker energy, a brain full of schemes, and a knack for getting into trouble that would put even the most chaotic Twitch streamers to shame. First off, we meet Tom in prime dodging responsibility mode. Aunt Polly's out here like the boss of the house, trying to wrangle Tom's nonsense, but she's low-key terrible at it. She's got this whole vibe of I know I should punish you, but I love you too much to do it right, so Tom pretty much lives his best main character in a sitcom life. The opening scene? Classic bait and switch. Aunt Polly's calling out for Tom like, why are you Tom, because this dude's probably out there causing shenanigans. And guess what? He is. Tom gets busted mid-sugar heist, yes, sugar stealing is peak 1840s rebellion, and he thinks he's slick for a second. But Aunt Polly's got some mom-level spidey sense, so she calls him out hard. Tom tries to spin the situation with some quick thinking, but it's like trying to speedrun a boss fight without armor, completely fails. Fast forward a bit, and Tom's outside flexing his slacker skills when he bumps into this new kid, the equivalent of your rival in Pokemon. This kid's got fancy clothes and a bad attitude, and naturally, they end up throwing hands. I mean, what else are two boys gonna do to settle their differences in the pre-TikTok world? After a dramatic scrap, Tom wins, because of course he does, and the other kid takes the L and runs home crying. Victory dance unlocked. But wait, Tom's night isn't over. Instead of just going home like a normal person, he sneaks into the house Fortnite style through the window. Aunt Polly's waiting, but she doesn't catch him this time. Score 1 for Tom. The next day rolls around, and Tom pulls off what might be the most iconic scam of the 19th century, painting that fence. Now, listen, Tom doesn't just trick people into doing his chore. Oh no. He pulls the ultimate social engineering hack. He acts like painting is the coolest, most exclusive VIP experience anyone could dream of. Suddenly, every kid in town is paying him to paint his fence. They're giving him marbles, kites, even a dead rat on a string, don't ask. Tom's raking in loot like he just won a Minecraft PvP tournament. Meanwhile, Aunt Polly's like, wow, what a hard worker, and Tom's out here living his best con artist life. But don't think Tom's just about hustles and hijinks, he's got a softer side too. Enter Becky Thatcher. She's the new girl in town, and Tom's instantly smitten. Think your favorite rom-com, but set in a one-room schoolhouse. Tom's over here trying to impress Becky with every move, even pulling out his smooth anime protagonist voice during recess. Things seem to go well until Tom lets it slip that he was previously engaged to another girl. Oops. Becky's all heartbreak hotel, and Tom's scrambling to fix it, but Becky's having none of it. She's got that I'm too good for your nonsense energy. Now, let's talk about Sunday school. Tom's dragged there like a kid forced to quit gaming for a family dinner. This place is all about memorizing Bible verses, which is about as exciting as grinding XP in the worst side quest ever. But Tom's not about to waste this opportunity. He straight up buys a bunch of good behavior tickets with the loot he scored from the fence painting scheme. These tickets are basically your pass to fame and glory in Sunday school, and Tom cashes in enough to win a Bible, even though he doesn't know the first thing about what's inside it. When the superintendent calls him up to show off in front of the whole class, Tom gets absolutely wrecked because he can't answer even the easiest question. Total facepalm moment. But hey, he got his clout for a second. Now, things really level up when Tom and his crew start playing army. Tom's out here acting like he's the commander of some epic Call of Duty squad, giving orders and leading charges. He's living for the drama of it all, but the other kids? Let's just say the hype doesn't last long, especially when they realize there are no actual rewards for following Tom into imaginary battles. Still, Tom's living in his own world, as per usual. Then we've got Tom's attempts at looking good in front of grown-ups. One day in church, he's sitting there bored out of his mind when a literal fly boss fight unfolds. This dude starts messing with a pinch bug, a big, nasty beetle, and it escapes, causing chaos. The whole church turns into a slapstick comedy, and Tom's in the middle of it, loving the attention but trying to play it cool. Classic Tom. So yeah, that's just the start of Tom Sawyer's epic saga. The dude's a mix of Naruto energy, among his deception skills, and the kind of charisma that makes you both annoyed and impressed at the same time. He's not just living in 1840s Missouri, he's owning it, one chaotic escapade at a time. Stick around, because things are only gonna get crazier from here. Alright, y'all, let's jump back into the chaotic life of our boy Tom Sawyer. Things get even wilder as Tom dives headfirst into church shenanigans, witchy vibes, bad decisions, and big-time regrets. So grab your popcorn and let's roll. First up, church. Now, if you've ever had to sit through a long, boring lecture and felt your soul slowly leaving your body, congrats, you know exactly how Tom feels here. Aunt Polly drags him to church, and it's the usual scene, the preacher's up there spitting out Bible verses like he's hosting a TED Talk on morality, but nobody's really listening. Except for the old folks in the front row, those people are locked in like it's the Game of Thrones finale. Tom's not feeling it, though. He's fidgeting, doodling, and basically trying every trick in the book to make it through. And then, like a gift from the chaos gods, his cousin Mary gives him this shiny brass knob to play with. Big mistake. Tom drops it, and it lands in the middle of the aisle. But that's not even the best part. A stray dog decides the brass knob is its new chew toy, and the whole church devolves into comedy gold. The dog's running laps, people are freaking out, and Tom's trying not to lose it. It's like a Looney Tunes skit in real time. Aunt Polly? Mortified. Tom? Living his best life. Next, let's talk about Tom's brief but terrifying stint as a DIY dentist. So Tom's got this crush on Becky Thatcher, aka his forever queen, but she's been giving him the cold shoulder lately. Our boy's spiraling into full-blown self-pity mode, lying around like he's in a sad boy music video. Then, he gets hit with a new crisis, his loose tooth. Now, you'd think he'd let nature do its thing, but nah. Tom's all about instant gratification, so he decides to pull it out himself. He rigs up some janky setup with a string, ties one end to his tooth and the other to the bedpost, and goes full Mythbusters. One hard yank later, the tooth's out, and Tom's feeling like the MVP of DIY dentistry. But wait, there's more. That night, Tom's hyped about this magic he's heard about for getting rid of warts. It involves a dead cat, a graveyard, and some midnight mumbo-jumbo. Yes, you heard that right. Tom ropes his bestie Huck Finn into this little side quest, and the two of them sneak out to the graveyard like it's a stealth mission in Assassin's Creed. They're out there whispering chants about witches and devils, all while clutching their poor dead cat like it's some cursed relic. Honestly, it's giving major Stranger Things vibes, minus the Demogorgon. But then, plot twist, things get real spooky real fast. The boys witness something they definitely shouldn't have. Injun Joe, the local bad guy, straight up murders a dude named Dr. Robinson during a grave robbing gone wrong. Like, 1 minute Tom and Huck are goofing around, and the next, they're in the middle of a true crime drama. The boys book it out of there so fast they probably set a world record. But now, they're freaked out of their minds and swearing on a blood oath, super dramatic, of course, never to tell anyone what they saw. It's all very Riverdale meets Goosebumps. The next day, Tom's back in school, trying to act normal, but you can tell the guilt's eating him alive. Plus, Becky's still mad at him, which just adds to his bad mood. But Tom being Tom, he's not about to sit around moping. Instead, he goes full-on win Becky back mode. He shows off during lessons, cracks jokes, and does the 1840s version of a TikTok dance to grab her attention. It kind of works, Becky's intrigued but still playing hard to get. Then, during recess, Tom tries to impress her by teaching her how to draw. Becky's into it for like 5 seconds, but then Tom, being the king of bad timing, accidentally mentions his ex-girlfriend. Big yikes. Becky flips out, and Tom's left standing there like he just lost a ranked match in League of Legends. Becky storms off, and Tom spends the rest of the day trying to figure out how to fix it. Later, Tom goes off into the woods to brood, classic dramatic anime character move. He's pacing around, punching trees, and muttering about how unfair life is when he stumbles upon an idea he's going to run away. Yup, our boy's ready to dip out of town and start fresh, maybe as a pirate or something equally cool. He's imagining himself as this legendary outlaw, sailing the high seas and living the dream. It's giving big One Piece energy, and honestly, I respect it. While Tom's fantasizing, he ends up wandering into some old familiar spots, like this cave where he and his friends used to hang out. It's kind of a bittersweet moment, like when you revisit a place from your childhood and suddenly feel all nostalgic. Tom's thinking about how things used to be simpler, back before he got wrapped up in love triangles, murder mysteries, and dead cat rituals. But instead of sulking, he decides to channel that nostalgia into action. He's ready to make some bold moves, whatever those might be. So yeah, those chapters are a roller coaster of chaos, cringe, and comedy. Tom's out here living a life that's equal parts the Goonies and Scooby-Doo, juggling crushes, spooky graveyard adventures, and awkward school drama. One thing's for sure, this kid's life is anything but boring. Stay tuned, because you just know things are about to get even messier. Alright, let's dive into some serious drama and epic vibes as Tom Sawyer levels up in his chaotic little life. Strap in, because these chapters are like binge-watching a series where every episode ends with a crazy cliffhanger. We're talking graveyard chills, moral dilemmas, and a pirate adventure that screams Minecraft survival mode meets Stranger Things. Let's go. So, we kick things off with Tom and Huck hanging out in the graveyard at night, because obviously, that's the kind of wholesome activity two boys do when they're bored. They're there to try some weird dead cat witchcraft to cure warts, don't ask. Things are already spooky enough with the moonlight and creepy vibes, but then bam, they hear voices. It's like that moment in a horror movie where the music gets all tense, and you know something bad's about to go down. Enter Injun Joe, Muff Potter, and Dr. Robinson. These guys are here for some next-level shady business, grave robbing. Yup, this story just went from small-town mischief to full-blown true crime. Now, you'd think Tom and Huck would peace out the second they see what's going down, but no. They're frozen, watching the drama unfold like they're glued to a live stream. Injun Joe starts beefing with Dr. Robinson over some old grudge, and things escalate faster than a Twitter fight. Next thing you know, Injun Joe grabs Muff Potter's knife and boom, kills the doctor. Total game over for Dr. Robinson. But here's the kicker, Injun Joe frames poor Muff for the murder while Muff's passed out drunk. Like, dude wakes up confused, holding the knife, and Injun Joe's like, yeah, you did it, bro. Cold. Tom and Huck book it out of there, hearts pounding like they just survived a boss battle. They're absolutely freaked out and swear a blood oath to never, ever snitch on what they saw. This is some serious Naruto-level ninja honor stuff, complete with pricked fingers and promises of eternal silence. But here's the thing, Tom's guilt starts creeping in like a bug in your favorite video game that just won't go away. The guy's conscience is grinding him down, and he can't even enjoy life anymore. Every time he sees Muff Potter, who's now locked up and awaiting trial, Tom feels like he's carrying a ton of bricks on his back. Meanwhile, Huck's chilling, probably practicing his fishing skills and avoiding grown-ups like he's playing stealth mode IRL. But Tom? He's spiraling. The murder keeps haunting him, especially when Muff's all grateful and sweet to Tom, calling him a good kid. It's like, bro, you're breaking Tom's brain right now. He starts having nightmares, jumps at shadows, and feels like the walls are closing in. If this were an anime, Tom would be stuck in the middle of a dramatic internal monologue with intense violin music. Then, in the middle of all this mental chaos, Tom shows his softer side. Aunt Polly's been mad at him, again, what else is new, and Tom decides to make things right. He sneaks her little gifts and even takes Becky Thatcher's punishment at school like a total knight in shining armor. Tom's pulling all the good boy moves, and Aunt Polly's heart finally melts a little. She's still mad, but in that I can't stay mad at you, you rascal way. It's like when your pet destroys your shoes, but they give you those puppy eyes, and you're like, fine, you win. But hold up, the real plot twist comes when Tom decides he's had enough of this boring, guilt-ridden life. He wants to live big. He wants adventure. He wants freedom. So he teams up with Huck and their other friend, Joe Harper, to become pirates. Yes, actual pirates. These kids run away to Jackson's Island, a deserted spot in the middle of the river, like it's their personal Fortnite Battle Royale island. They pack some bread and bacon, pirate essentials, obviously, and sail off into the sunset, ready to live their best lives. Now, let me tell you, the pirate life is all kinds of awesome at first. The boys are camping out under the stars, cooking over a fire, and swimming all day. It's giving major survival YouTube channel energy. They even make up pirate names for themselves and talk about how they're gonna terrorize the seas, or, you know, the local fishing boats. The vibe is all we're the kings of the world, until reality starts to creep in. First, Joe and Huck start getting homesick. Like, sure, being a pirate is cool and all, but there's no Fortnite, no snacks waiting in the fridge, no warm beds, just mosquitoes and hard ground. Even Tom, the OG chaos magnet, starts feeling the pangs of guilt again, especially when he realizes people back in town probably think they've drowned. Yeah, newsflash, boys, running away without telling anyone kind of makes people panic. Who knew? To shake things up, Tom sneaks back into town one night like a total ninja. He's creeping around, peeking into windows, and overhears Aunt Polly praying for him. It's like the ultimate guilt trip. But instead of coming clean, Tom hatches a wild plan to make their return as epic as possible. He wants to crash their own funeral. Yup, Tom Sawyer has main character energy for days. Back on the island, Tom hypes up the boys with his master plan. They all agree to wait until the town's gathered in the church for their funeral before making their grand re-entry. And let me tell you, the stage is set for some serious drama. So there you have it, murder cover-ups, pirate adventures, and Tom Sawyer living like every moment's an audition for a reality show. Our boy's juggling danger, guilt, and fun like he's in some chaotic circus. And somehow, through all the madness, he's still the same lovable troublemaker we can't help but root for. Stay tuned, because the chaos is far from over. Alright, buckle up, because Tom Sawyer's wild ride just keeps getting crazier. Our favorite trio of chaos-causing wannabe pirates, Tom, Huck, and Joe, are still living it up on their DIY island getaway. Think of it like summer camp, but without adult supervision, rules, or the internet. It's the dream, at least at first. The boys are having a blast with their new pirate personas, doing pirate things like fishing, swimming, and goofing off. They're basically living their best Peter Pan lives, being the kings of their little island. Huck is thriving because, let's be honest, he's already used to roughing it. Joe's a little less sure, he's more of a creature comforts kind of kid. Tom, though? Tom's loving every second, probably imagining his face on pirate-themed merch. Then, things start to take a turn. First, the boys realize they've got no Wi-Fi. Okay, not really, but it might as well be that level of disaster when Joe and Huck start feeling homesick. They're missing the simple stuff, like food that doesn't taste like campfire and, oh yeah, their families who probably think they're dead. Tom tries to pep talk them with big speeches about freedom and adventure, but the mood's shifting. Even Tom, the king of denial, starts feeling it. In a dramatic midnight move, Tom sneaks away from camp to check out what's happening back home. The stealth vibes are real, he's creeping through the streets like a player in a Call of Duty mission. When he peeks in the window at Aunt Polly's, the emotional level hits Studio Ghibli sad montage levels. Aunt Polly's praying for Tom, crying her heart out, and it's like, ouch, right in the feels. Tom's tempted to reveal himself, but his drama-loving brain goes, no, wait, let's make this a moment. So instead of coming clean, Tom hatches a scheme to turn their return into the ultimate comeback story. Back at camp, he convinces Joe and Huck to stick it out just a little longer so they can make their entrance at their own funeral. Yep, these boys are about to troll their entire town, and honestly? Respect. Before the big reveal, they settle back into pirate life. They hold dramatic pretend wars, raid their campfire like it's a feast fit for One Piece, and basically embrace the whole Lost Boys of the island aesthetic. At one point, there's this random storm that shakes things up, lightning, thunder, the works. It's scary but also kind of cool, and they handle it like champs. Survival points earned. Finally, the day of the funeral rolls around, and this is where the real drama unfolds. Picture it, the entire town is packed into the church, mourning these lost boys. Aunt Polly's crying, Becky Thatcher's crying, literally everyone's crying. It's peak soap opera energy. Then, boom, the boys burst in, alive and well, with Tom leading the charge like, surprise, losers. We're back. The crowd goes wild, and just like that, the boys go from troublemakers to hometown heroes. Tom soaks up the attention like a YouTuber hitting 1 million subs. Now, you'd think Tom might chill out after that, but nah, he's got more drama brewing. Back in school, Becky Thatcher's been giving him mixed signals. She's kind of over his nonsense, but also not really, and Tom, being Tom, decides to stir the pot. When he catches Becky sneaking a peek at the teacher's anatomy book, yep, it's old school scandalous, she panics. Tom could snitch, but instead, he takes the blame when the teacher finds out. Instant redemption points, right? Becky's impressed, but also, she's Becky, so she plays it cool. But wait, there's more. Tom's been feeling weirdly jealous of this new kid in town who's been hanging around Becky. You know that vibe when someone's hitting on your Minecraft build, and you're like, bro, back off? Yeah, that's Tom. So naturally, he pulls out all the stops to win her back, including telling her about his epic dream. Spoiler, the dream is totally fake, but it's so over the top that Becky buys it. Tom's like a professional Twitch streamer, spinning stories and keeping his audience hooked. Meanwhile, Becky's got her own plans to make Tom jealous. She flirts with Alfred Temple, a prim and proper kid who's basically Tom's opposite. Tom watches this go down and feels like someone just griefed his server. He's burning with jealousy, but he doesn't lash out. Instead, he pulls off some sneaky sabotage by letting Alfred ruin his schoolbook with ink. Savage. The chapter ends with Tom and Becky kind of making up, but also not totally resolving their drama. It's like the end of an episode where the two leads exchange meaningful looks, and you know the ship is still sailing but with plenty of stormy seas ahead. So there you have it. Tom's juggling pirate adventures, fake dreams, school drama, and Becky Thatcher like it's a multiplayer game where every side quest gets more complicated. He's bold, he's messy, and he's absolutely the king of creating chaos for the sake of a good story. Can't wait to see what he pulls next. Alright, fam, let's dive back into the wild, meme-worthy world of Tom Sawyer. Things are heating up, and Tom's chaos level is officially off the charts. First, we've got Tom hitting a rare moment of truth-telling. Yeah, you heard me, our boy, the king of capers, actually comes clean. It's about that ink sabotage schoolbook incident. Tom straight up confesses, which is honestly a plot twist because Tom's usual style is deny everything and distract with a dramatic performance. Becky Thatcher is low-key shocked, but deep down, she's feeling those hero vibes. She's like, wait, maybe this goofball has some layers. Tom's noble streak is showing, and even though Becky was salty at him a hot minute ago, this starts to thaw her frosty attitude. Of course, Tom being Tom, his hero complex gets tested pretty much immediately. Becky gets herself into a major pickle when she accidentally rips the teacher's prized book. The teacher's scary enough to make Voldemort look like a Care Bear, so Becky's freaking out. But who steps in like an anime protagonist ready to tank the boss's ultimate attack? Tom, that's who. He takes the blame for the whole thing, and the teacher, being the absolute tyrant he is, wails on Tom like it's a Dark Souls punishment round. But Tom eats it like a champ. Becky's so impressed she probably hears romantic background music playing every time she looks at him now. Then there's this weird school event where the kids have to write compositions, and it's as cringe as it sounds. The girls are all about it, trying to outshine each other with dramatic essays about life, love, and sunsets. Tom, on the other hand, is barely holding it together. He's probably wishing he could just spam skip cutscene. But the real MVP moment comes when Tom exacts some hilarious revenge on Alfred Temple. You know, the kid who's been Becky's rebound flirt buddy? Tom gets his petty vengeance, and it's so satisfying you can practically hear the Mortal Kombat announcer yell, "Finish him." Just when you think Tom might get a breather, his confidence takes a nosedive. He spills some secrets he probably shouldn't have, and the fallout is brutal. You know that moment in every RPG where you pick the wrong dialogue option, and the NPC hates you for it? That's Tom. He's expecting punishment to come crashing down any second, so he's walking around like a deer caught in the headlights. But honestly, Tom wouldn't be Tom if he didn't bounce back. Now, here's where things really get spicy, the Muff Potter trial. Remember that whole drama with Injun Joe and the murder by the graveyard? Yeah, that plotline's back in a big way. Muff Potter, the poor scapegoat, is on trial for something he didn't do, and everyone's ready to throw the book at him. Tom's conscience is doing backflips because he knows the truth, Injun Joe's the real culprit. Tom's been holding on to the secret like it's the One Ring, and the weight is finally too much. In a jaw-dropping moment of bravery, Tom testifies in court and drops the ultimate truth bomb. The crowd's jaws hit the floor. Muff Potter's saved, and Tom's officially the town hero. Cue the epic music. But hero status doesn't mean Tom gets to chill. Nope, the vibes shift into thriller mode because Injun Joe escapes during all the courtroom chaos. Suddenly, the town's on edge, and Tom's nightmares crank up to full-blown horror movie level. Every shadow feels like Injun Joe lurking, and Tom can't shake the feeling that danger's creeping closer. It's like living in a Five Nights at Freddy's game, but instead of animatronics, it's a vengeful outlaw. Tom, being Tom, though, decides to dive headfirst into another adventure instead of lying low. He's got treasure fever, y'all. He's convinced there's a fortune out there just waiting for him to find it. With Huck by his side, the duo transforms into amateur treasure hunters. They're out here digging around old spots and chasing rumors like they're NPCs in a treasure hunting side quest. Tom's imagination is running wild. He's picturing gold coins, diamonds, maybe even a legendary artifact or two. At one point, they're so spooked by ghost stories that every creak and shadow feels like a ghost boss fight. There's talk of dead people and haunted places, and honestly, the vibes are straight out of Phasmophobia. The boys are hyped but also terrified, and it's the perfect mix of comedy and suspense. You can almost hear Huck saying, "Dude, we're gonna die," while Tom's like, "Nah, we're the protagonists." Plot armor, baby. Their treasure hunting adventure is wild, and every new lead feels like it's taking them deeper into danger. Tom's got this gleam in his eye like he's Indiana Jones, but Huck's more like, "Bro, can we not die for this?" They're sneaking into creepy spots, staying up late, and dodging trouble at every turn. The stakes are climbing, and you can feel that something big's coming. So yeah, that's where we're at. Tom's juggling hero status, nightmares, and treasure hunts, while Huck's just trying to survive Tom's next big idea. The chaos is real, the drama's intense, and the adventures keep leveling up. Our boy Tom's living proof that being a chaotic good character is never boring. Stay tuned, this is only getting crazier. Alright, buckle up, because things are about to get turbo-chaotic in Tom's world. So, Tom and Huck are in full treasure hunting mode, their heads filled with visions of gold and glory like they're prepping for a boss raid in Genshin Impact. The next stop? The haunted house. And yeah, it's as creepy as it sounds, dusty, creaky, and about 5 seconds away from being the set of a horror movie. They're sneaking around, convinced they're gonna stumble on a treasure chest glowing with that sweet, golden loot. But plot twist, they aren't alone. Injun Joe and his buddy show up, and suddenly the haunted house isn't so fun anymore. Tom and Huck go full stealth mode, holding their breath and praying not to be found. Joe and his partner start digging around and boom, they actually find a box of gold. It's a literal jackpot moment, except for one tiny problem, it's not Tom and Huck's jackpot. Joe's like, "Let's move this treasure to a safer spot," and the boys are left empty-handed. Bitter luck doesn't even begin to describe it. Tom's probably thinking, why does the plot hate me? Now, Tom's brain is buzzing with questions. Where's the treasure going? How do they get their hands on it? Huck, being the chill sidekick, is like, "Let's not die chasing gold, alright?" But Tom's not backing down. He's convinced they need to play detective, so they start shadowing Joe like amateur sleuths in a true crime docuseries. Tom's got all these grand ideas, while Huck's just trying to stay alive and not end up as a ghost in the haunted house. The boys eventually figure out that the treasure might be stashed in a mysterious place called No. 2. It's giving major video game vibes, like they're one puzzle away from unlocking a legendary chest. Huck takes on night guard duty, camping out near the suspected spot and watching for any sign of Joe. It's boring and tense all at once, like waiting in a Fortnite lobby but with actual danger. Huck's dedication? 10 out of 10. Tom's courage? Reckless, but kinda iconic. Meanwhile, life isn't all about treasure. There's a picnic happening, and you know Tom isn't missing a chance to impress Becky Thatcher. The crew heads to McDougal's cave, a sprawling labyrinth that's as cool as it is terrifying. Think Minecraft, but in real life, with endless tunnels and zero GPS. Everyone's having a blast, munching on snacks and exploring. Tom and Becky wander off, probably imagining they're in their own little rom-com subplot. But back to Huck. While everyone else is picnicking, he's still on Injun Joe's trail. Huck overhears Joe plotting some seriously dark stuff, like revenge on the widow Douglas. Huck's heart probably stops for a second, but then he channels his inner superhero. He rushes to warn the Welshman, a local ally, who steps up to protect the widow. The night turns into an action sequence, complete with a showdown. Huck's bravery? Totally MVP status. But being a hero comes with a price, word gets out about his involvement, and Huck is not loving the spotlight. Meanwhile, back in the cave, things take a hard turn for the terrifying. Tom and Becky, lost in their little world, suddenly realize they're actually lost. Like, full-on no way out lost. The cave's tunnels twist and turn, and the vibe shifts from adventure to survival horror. It's dark, it's cold, and their lantern is running out of juice. Becky's freaking out, and even Tom, the guy who's usually brimming with confidence, is feeling the dread creep in. Every shadow looks like it's hiding something sinister, and they're running on pure hope and adrenaline. The deeper they go, the worse it gets. Hunger sets in, their energy's drained, and despair's starting to win. Tom does his best to keep Becky's spirits up, even making jokes to distract her from how dire things are. But inside, he's panicking too. This is no ordinary scrape, this is life or death territory. At one point, they think they hear voices, but it's just the echoes messing with their heads. It's like the cave is alive and trying to swallow them whole. And then comes the real kicker, Tom spots Injun Joe in the cave. Yep, the same dude they've been avoiding like a cursed mini-boss. Joe doesn't see them, but just knowing he's there makes the whole situation feel even more dangerous. Tom's mind is racing. Not only do they have to survive the cave, but they've also got to avoid a guy who'd happily eliminate witnesses. It's peak tension, and every move feels like it could be their last. Finally, they stumble on a glimmer of hope, a small opening that leads them back to daylight. The relief is unreal, like beating a level you've been stuck on for hours. Tom and Becky emerge, exhausted but alive, and the town breathes a collective sigh of relief when they show up. It's a bittersweet victory, though, because Injun Joe's still out there, and the treasure hunt isn't over. Tom's adventures are reaching a whole new level of intensity, mixing danger, drama, and just enough triumph to keep you rooting for him. Stay tuned, because you know this saga's not done throwing curveballs. Alright, fam, here's the deal. Tom and Becky make it out of that cave alive, but not without a story that's straight out of an action-adventure movie. Tom's back in town, and everyone's like, dude, what even happened? So, Tom spills the tea about being lost for days, dodging danger, and surviving what felt like the ultimate survival horror game. People are shook, especially when Tom casually mentions that, oh yeah, Injun Joe is chilling in that cave too. This whole thing has the town buzzing louder than a viral TikTok. Now, here's the plot twist that changes the game. Judge Thatcher, Becky's dad, orders the cave to be sealed up with a big OL iron door. He's thinking, no one's getting stuck in there again, but Tom's like, about that. He remembers the treasure. And oh yeah, Injun Joe is still trapped inside. Yeah, not a great place to be. When the town finds out, it's a whole thing. Injun Joe doesn't make it. It's tragic and kinda grim, but also, this is a guy who wasn't exactly handing out good vibes. Tom's enemy is officially out of the picture, but the adventure's not over. Tom and Huck have a full-blown powwow, comparing notes and piecing together every clue about the treasure. They're like detectives cracking a cold case, except their methods are less CSI and more wing it and hope for the best. Finally, they decide to head back to the cave for one last epic raid. Armed with a lantern and all the courage they can muster, they make their way to the spot Tom remembers seeing Injun Joe before. It's tense. The air feels heavier, like the cave's secrets are about to explode. And boom, there it is. The treasure. A legit box of gold, just chilling like a hidden level bonus in a video game. They hit the jackpot so hard it's almost unfair. Tom and Huck can barely believe it. They're richer than their wildest dreams, and suddenly life feels like a shiny new RPG with unlimited resources. They haul the loot back, their minds spinning with possibilities. This treasure isn't just gold, it's their ticket to being legends. But hold up, this is where the real feels kick in. Huck's not used to all this attention. People start treating him differently, especially the widow Douglas, who decides she's gonna take him in and make him respectable. Huck's like, whoa, time out. This isn't my vibe. He's used to his freedom, running wild, and living life on his terms. The widow's intentions are sweet, but her version of proper feels like putting a leash on a stray cat. Huck even tries to ditch, but Tom steps in, hyping him up with promises of the epic adventures they'll have together. Huck reluctantly agrees to stick around, but you can tell he's not thrilled about trading his scrappy, carefree life for clean clothes and polite manners. Meanwhile, Tom's over here springing surprises left and right. He's got the secret he's been dying to share, and when he finally spills it, everyone's jaws hit the floor. Turns out, Tom's not just a troublemaker, he's a mastermind. The town celebrates their new heroes, and Tom and Huck are basking in their newfound fame. People can't stop talking about their treasure hunt and the crazy events that led up to it. And then there's Mr. Jones. He's been holding on to his own surprise, thinking he's about to drop the mic on everyone. But when he finally reveals it, the moment kind of fizzles. It's like when someone hypes up a new show, and then you watch it, and it's just, meh. Poor guy. He meant well, but his big reveal gets totally overshadowed by the treasure drama. As life settles into its new groove, Tom and Huck start plotting their next big adventure. They're not the kind of kids who sit around and let life happen to them, they make it happen. With gold in their pockets and big dreams in their heads, the world feels wide open. Huck's still figuring out how to navigate this respectable thing, and Tom's already mapping out their next moves. Together, they're unstoppable, a dynamic duo ready to take on whatever wild challenges come their way. And that's how it all wraps up, folks. Tom and Huck go from scrappy kids to hometown heroes, proving that a little courage and a lot of mischief can lead to some seriously epic tales. Their story is part comedy, part drama, and all adventure, like the ultimate binge-worthy series you never want to end. Who knows what's next for these two? Whatever it is, you can bet it's gonna be lit.